Hi, this is Kyle Schwarber, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Hi, everybody. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zalecki. It's the Phillies Show. It's the day after opening day. Friday, March 28th, 2025. Phillies win the season opener, 7-3 in 10 innings. How are we doing, guys?
Doing great.
Doing bueno. I see this is 162-0. You know, we overreact to opening day.
They're going all the way.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Big home run numbers from Bryce, Harper, and Kyle Schwarber. You know, everything. Alec Bohm is going to make the All-Star team again, right? Zach Wheeler looked great. Ruben, what did you think of opening day? Jen, if you had to sum it up for us in your mind, in your mind, what did you think of the season opener yesterday?
Well, the difficulty of it was that it was a sunny day at 4:00. When you start games like that during this period of time, and during the course of the, I guess, once you get later into the season as well, the sun creates a factor that makes it virtually impossible to see baseball. And, you know, people who watch this game are sitting there watching this guy, Mackenzie Gore, go through the Phillies lineup like hot knife through butter.
Right.
And I'm sure there was some consternation like, oh, my God, I can't believe they said they worked on, not striking out and making contact. And I can't believe what's going on here. Well, guess what, folks? When you can't see a baseball and the guy's throwing like 94 to 97 with nasty stuff and you have no idea where the spin is going, it's virtually impossible to hit the baseball unless the guy hits your bat. I mean, that's what it's basically down to. I've lived it, and I've played it. I played one game at the Vet one time against Pedro Martinez right around that same time. And I was basically crapping my pants because I had no chance. I mean, Pedro Martinez has the filthiest changeup. You can't distinguish speed. You can't distinguish. All you see is a black sphere. And I talked about it a little bit on the post game, but and it's not an excuse. I mean, there are tons of strikeouts. Even Wheeler had a ton of strikeouts, and he didn't have his pinpoint command, but he had good stuff. And the Washington Nationals are not a great offensive team. So, listen. Once the game got into the shadows, like the whole, the sun got into the shadows and they started seeing the baseball a little bit. I mean, that was sort of a godsend for the Phillies, and the big boys came through. You had the showman come through with a home run to tie it. You had Schwarber, then follow with a home run. I mean, great stuff. I got to give a shout out to Wheeler. Obviously, pitched great because he's the best pitcher on the planet. And I got to give a shout out to the one at bat that Keibert Ruiz had against him. Yeah. It was one of the best at bats you may see this entire season. Mm-hmm. And it happened in the very first, game of the season. He fouled off, I don't know, like 7 straight pitches or something. And then he hit a nasty pitch, like up and in, that most left-handers can't get to. And
pulled his hands in.
And he pulled his hands in so nicely. The dude, he gets some love for that.
Most guys hook that ball way up into the third level, way foul.
Yeah, really impressive. But there's some other things to unpack. I don't know how long you want me to talk here, Todd.
We want you to talk the whole day.
Well, Ruben, I just wanted to add to that. Talking to Zach Wheeler after the game yesterday, somebody asked him about the shadows, and he said, honestly, it's great for me. I'm trying to get through the inning as quickly as possible so I can get back out there as quickly as possible so I can stay in the shadows as long as possible, because he knows the Nationals have no sense of inning. Because, and you're right, I think sometimes in these games, you hear the players talk about shadows when they're struggling at the plate, and they go, come on, bro, shadows, like really? Like, is it really that much of a difference? But, it is that much of a difference. Like I said, Zach Wheeler was like, I wanted to get a pitch as fast as possible so I could extend my outing as much as possible, because I knew that the Nationals almost had no chance to hit. And real quick, that I got this stat. This did not make it in my story yesterday, but this is kind of a did you know? The Keibert Ruiz 12 pitch at bat against Zach Wheeler. It was the longest at bat that Zach Wheeler ever had that ended in a home run. The previous high was an 11 pitch at bat versus Jason Hayward, April 9th, 2014. So that was a heck of a battle between.
Unbelievable.
Wheeler. I mean, Wheeler being Wheeler a competitor. I asked him about that pitch. I said, it looked like it wasn't a bad pitch. He's like,
great pitch.
He's like, it wasn't my best fastball though. So he didn't think it was, like Wheeler's like, it could have been better, which is why he's great, right? Because he did throw a good pitch. I thought it was a good pitch. You thought it was a good pitch, but he's like,
off the plate, up and in.
Yeah, it could have been a little better.
I mean, it could have been better if it wouldn't have been hit out of the ballpark. I mean, he doesn't want to give the other guy credit.
Right.
Was that Kybert Ruiz? Was he in the Trey Turner trade?
He sure was. No, he was in the he came over in the, I think, the Scherzer trade.
Wasn't that the same trade? No, I don't know. Dodgers. He was originally a Dodger.
It was Dodgers. I think it was Scherzer.
Okay, yeah, he's a good-looking player.
And they signed him to a multi-year deal, like the 7-year deal. I was a little astonished by that. But he put himself in pretty good shape. He got heavy last year and got a little lazy, it seemed like, but it looks like, I mean, he caught a good game. I was watching him pretty intently as he's handling the pitcher. Gore, he did a nice job with him and put together, a decent at bat, and he had 2 hits. He was the only guy who had 2 hits against Wheeler as well. So
Scherzer and Turner in that trade, July 30th.
Oh, both of them.
Yep.
In another 20 years ago, Mackenzie Gore probably gives you another inning because guys used to come out of spring training getting to 100 pitches. That was always like the benchmark by the end of camp, and now they're just shy of that, and they're getting to around 100 in their first regular season start. They might have been able to squeeze another one out of him, and that could have been different. But I mean, to me, the turning point in the game was goodbye Mackenzie Gore and goodbye Shadows. And how much of a factor is that the batter's eye is on fire as well? You might have the Shadows might be gone. They might be out into shallow center field, but that batter's eye still is on fire. And it's a very prominent batter's eye in Washington.
I will say this. We talked about the batter's eye, and we were watching during the game, we were watching part of the New York Yankees game. I believe it was at Yankee Stadium, and we were looking at the batter's eye. Ben Davis and I were commenting about how certain batter's eyes you love as a hitter, and a lot of it depends on your height. Like I was a shorter statured guy, Ben much taller, and different guys like different batter's eyes and batter's boxes. It's a real thing. You feel a lot more comfortable. Like I felt really comfortable in Shea Stadium for some reason, and I had pretty good at bats. I loved the batter's eye at Shea Stadium. I loved hitting there. I saw the ball well, and I hit pretty well against guys like, I don't know, Sid Fernandez and Doc Gooden. I don't know why, because I stunk, but against those guys, I was actually pretty good because of the batter's eye and because of the comfort that I felt there.
It's funny you mentioned the batter's eye. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I wrote that story talking about the wind effect at Citizens Bank Park and talking to the Phillies. And they talked about in terms of park factors. One of the things that people don't talk about is the batter's eye from park to park and how that makes a huge difference in how many home runs are hit and how much offense is generated from park to park. Good batter's eyes, bad batter's eyes.
Because that batter's eye in Washington, it looks like it's got a little sheen to it.
It does, and it looks like it's set back a little bit.
It's like painted in semi-gloss, where I think you need more of a satin finish, where the one in Citizens Bank Park is covered with foliage, so it doesn't like bounce.
Yeah. I think you guys might know this story. The Citizens Bank Park background originally, the grout in it, because it was red. I was sent back just before we broke for the season.
I remember that.
The grout was white. And
I'm
watching BP. They're taking BP there, like with some minor leaguers or something. And I'm like, guys, do you know that the ball is white and with red stitches, and we have a red and white background? Like, we need to paint the grout somehow. And Mike DiMuzio got his group out there, and they painted it down and made it darker because, I was concerned, like, how are these guys going to see the baseball if there's white grouting in the back?
I remember that. I remember they stained the whole brick wall there.
That's correct.
Yeah. And am I crazy? Wasn't there also a stone display on the ground?
Yes,
it was
pea stone. It was white.
Pea stone. It was a white pea stone, like in rocks, in the shape of the Phillies logo. And it was,
and they darkened that too. They changed that out, made it
they got rid of that as well. I remember that too. Like, where we have like a bunch of white rocks. Out in center field.
Hey, at least you didn't forget the bullpens like they did in San Francisco.
Good point.
It's still one of the most amazing stories.
Yeah, talking about, I know we're not talking about stadiums, but I will say that when we went back and I went back and sat at each, that was one of the things, my job was to sort of check things out. And what I wanted to do for me personally is like move around the ballpark just to see different sight lines of the ballpark. Dude, I was so fascinated by all of it. Citizens Bank Park, I mean, it is low key one of the best venues in baseball for a lot of reasons. But one of them is not just, you can promenade around, the main concourse and watch the game, but also like the angles that you see, different spots. You can sit in left field, great seats in left field bleachers, great seats in right field bleachers, great seats up top. You get views of the ballpark in the city that are so spectacular. I mean, obviously you see them much better from like the press box area and from behind home plate, but my goodness, are there some great spots in that ballpark. And it gives you, if I were a fan, I would go to a different spot every single time I went to the ballpark just to get a different perspective because it's pretty cool.
It's a gorgeous ballpark.
It really is.
Gorgeous 20-year Ashburn Alley. There's such a feeling of community out there where people, having a hot dog, having a beer, having fun. Ashburn Alley is a great feature.
Having a Manco and Mancos.
There you go.
That's exactly right. Having
Speaking
a nice
of that,
Manco and Mancos pizza.
Before we talk about, I want to talk about Alec Bohm, his big hit, and we can talk a little bit more about Harper and Schwarber. I do want to mention this. We talked about this in the last show. Throw this on the screen here real quick. Manco is giving away a gift card. We're going to announce that winner sometime next week. So subscribe. Here's what you got to do. You got to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then in the comments section below this episode, just type in your favorite Phillies player of all time. So, we got a lot of signups in our season preview episode the other day. The contest is still going. So again, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, type in your favorite Phillies player of all time. That is your entry to win. And also,
what a segue, Todd.
Yeah,
That's
Phillies Show t-shirts are in stock. Phillies Show t-shirts are in stock. Go to thephilliesshow.com. We got a couple maroons left. We got a bunch of powder blues in stock. And we've sold a bunch of them already. So that's really cool. People are supporting the show, loving the show.
thephilliesshow.com.
Yeah, thephilliesshow.com. 100%. So Alec Bohm has, all off season. Is he going to get traded? Is he not going to get traded? The Phillies finally came out in December and said, he's not going to get traded. He talks about it in spring training and all this stuff. And then he comes out yesterday and just rips a first pitch fastball to the wall in left center field. And he said, I'm glad I'm still here, man. I'm glad I'm still here where I'm comfortable. And Bryce Harper talked about him after the game, saying we love the kid and we're so glad he's back. And Zach Wheeler said the same thing. Hey, I've been in trade rumors before too, and I know what it was like. And God, we love the guy, and he's such a big part of this team. And so it's kind of a cool moment for him. Post, in the moment, and then post game, talking. It was cool that that he talked about it and just the acknowledgement of the uncertainty, and then how it's funny how baseball works. Ball found him, I guess.
Well, I think we use this expression many times over the winter, and it's a bit of a cliche, but sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make. And I don't think you can say that, after one game. But I think that will be proven true over the course of 162 games, because I think he's going to have a really good season. And I just loved the at-bat. I loved the approach. And his approach is always pretty consistent. Put the ball in play, use the middle of the field, think line drive. But, that was, all of the above. Middle of the field. You could almost see a little top hand in there. The pitch was up a little bit. You could almost see a little top hand come in. And he was focused, short swing. He was focused on line drive, put it in play, win the ball game, or knock in the go-ahead run. So a tremendous at bat. Not trying to hit a home run there, trying to just hit it where they ain't. And it was a heck of an at bat and a heck of a game for him.
Yeah, you knew what he wanted. He said he was looking outer half because I guess the guy comes in and cuts in, so he didn't want to get jammed. And so he says, I was looking outer half. And sure enough, he got a fastball on the outer half of the plate, and he was ready for it and went at it. And he said, I was just trying to touch it. It went off his bat at like 107.9 miles an hour. So he touched it. He touched it pretty good.
A lot of things to unpack here. I mean, obviously the offseason was what it was. Came into camp really, really with a great attitude. I talked to Rob Thompson about it. Hey, he just came to play. And I don't know what he did during the offseason. I think he talked to some people. I think he had, a little personal growth moments, and came into camp in great spirits. He was sort of patented Alec Bohm, his first base hit. He threw his hands inside the ball, flipped it out to right field, hit it hard enough to right field to get past the second baseman for a knock. And he is the best. Over the last couple of years, there's not anybody better in my mind.
Runners on base.
And I think the numbers prove it out. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs, RBIs in general. He's ridiculous. I mean, he's hitting like 333. His numbers are like insane. And so someone was asking, well, why don't they walk Harper in front of him? I'm like, dude, do you walk Harper in front of him on purpose? And you're going to get some damage from the guy behind. That's why he's there. That's why he's there, because he provides protection. He may not have home run protection, but he's got RBI protection. And you see that by the way Topper aligns his lineup. And he believes in this guy. I mean, he's one of the best, other than Harper probably, he's the best pure hitter they have. It's as simple as that. He's really good. And I know he went through some struggles last year for a variety of reasons, but hey, people grow. Hopefully he does too. He was an all-star. He was dancing on 100 RBIs for 2 straight years.
A lot of doubles.
Davis made a comment the other day. He said, man, they should lock this guy up because there's not a better hitter in their team other than Harper. He's right.
Yep. Good. Great at bat. Really good win. What was going on, Todd, with Jordan Romano? I'm sitting there. I'm saying, does this guy ever throw a fastball? I mean, he looked herky jerky. He looked anxious. At one point, he put his eyes up to the heavens, and I thought he was trying to breathe through his eyelids. It was like he was having trouble calming himself down.
Yeah, his velo was way down. And the first few fastballs he threw, they were like 92.5 or something. I'm going, okay, is he like something going on here? Talked to him after the game. He said that his delivery was too quick. He was not in sync. And he said that kind of affected his ability to command the ball and really get anything on the ball. And so, yeah, he threw a lot of sliders. He usually throws more sliders than fastballs anyway, but it's usually like 55%.
50-50.
Yeah, almost 50-50. Maybe a tad over on the slider side, just slight. But I think he threw like 2 out of every 3 pitches were sliders. So he said his mechanics were kind of out of whack. He was too quick to the plate. The first maybe half of that inning when he got himself in some trouble, and then he kind of dialed it back in at the end. But I mean, he allowed 2 runs. He said there was maybe a little bit of nerves coming in for the first time for the Phillies, so maybe that he'll kind of iron that out as we move forward. So. You could tell he was very stand up, talking about it post game, but you could also tell it was still bothering him how he pitched, and understandably so. I mean, he wasn't happy with how he pitched.
You can tell he's a stand up guy. From speaking to him here and there, as a lot of late game relievers are. They know they have to get out there and wear it, and they have that in their DNA, and he certainly has that. So nowhere to go but up from there. But it's good he's got that first one out. But he did appear like, new team, anxiety, just a little nerves maybe. So hopefully he'll iron that out.
Hey, so a couple of things to unpack here. I'm going to get a little long-winded, I think. So I think about the closers and how they pitch and why they're so effective. I think closers in the 9th inning are guys that they sort of tap into the anxiety of the hitter.
Okay. Yeah.
The pitchers in the 8th inning have to really control their anxiety because the game's not necessarily on the line, but the hitters are more patient and they know the game's not over if they make their out. So it's a different mindset. So Mike Williams, we got years ago, he was a great closer for Pittsburgh. Everybody's swinging at a slider in the dirt. Well, in the 8th inning, that slider in the dirt, they spit on it, and you have to throw it for a strike more consistently. So it's a different role that he's going to have to adjust to. It was a tale of two different players who got opportunities here in Philadelphia after being with their teams in different spots. So you had Max Kepler, who was playing left field, who had a really good day, I thought. He translated the things that he was doing in the spring with quality at bats, nice piece of hitting with a double against, I think it was a lefty, had a couple of walks later on, really good quality at bats, solid in the outfield, all those things that and I think he felt more comfortable. There was no question in my mind, and he mentioned a little bit afterwards, but that Jordan Romano was nervous. He was nervous. He was in a little bit different role. He's in the 8th inning. He's not in the 9th inning. It's a different sort of a role for him, and I think he's going to have to manage through it. He's going to have to learn that, he's not going to be pitching in the 9th all the time. Alvarado may be that guy, or Strom, or somebody else, or even Orion Kerkering. So with the way that Rob Thompson manages this. So it will be interesting to see how he adjusts to this. The other thing that is of note is the fact that he doesn't hold runners. And that is a concern. They stole 2nd and 3rd on him, basically walking. And he doesn't hold runners all that. He's very long to the plate. Will he have to adjust his delivery to the plate? Will that have to change? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things to unpack here, and I am interested to see how that works out. Now, a lot of guys can't do that late in their careers, and most closers don't change because they don't want to change their ability to execute pitches. But a guy like Aaron Nola had to figure out how to speed things up. Slide step, quick step, whatever the case may be. Can Jordan Romano do that? I'm not sure. I love this guy because I love his demeanor. I love, but he was nervous. This is a guy who was nervous. He was in a new team, new role, high expectations.
That was it.
And he struggled a little bit. But what I did like about it is, to me, it was not how he started, it's how he finished. So he got knocked around a little bit early and gave up the couple of runs. But after that, I think he sort of settled in. And all of a sudden, the velo was there. The conviction with his pitches was there for like 3 or 4 pitches. So he sort of reverted back to himself. And I think that as he pitches more and more, I think he'll start feeling more and more comfortable. That's my view of where he is.
Yeah, I think his first fastball is like 92.6, and then at one point he hit 96.8. So at some point he added about 4 miles of velo. From the
it's good to get that one out of his system.
Yeah, right.
And it's good. Right. And it's good that he didn't give up the game, because that would have been real crushing for him. And the team came back and did what they did in the 10th to crush the game. But it's good for his demeanor, and it's good for his psyche. Hey, man, they're all human beings. I don't care whether you're 30, you're 22, or you're 40. There's effect on you mentally and emotionally, and it's a good thing that they ended up pulling out the game.
No question. Confidence is huge in every sport.
Then look at Alvarado.
Yeah, and especially when you have an off day the next day. If you have a difficult performance, now you got to live with that for 24 hours. It's so much better when you, like you said, he walked off the mound. He got it together a little bit, and they won the game. So that's a good way to go into an off day.
Alvarado, yeah, he looked like the Alvarado we saw all spring, just firing 100, nasty, unhittable. Kerkering, I thought, pitched pretty well. And Matt Strom in the 10th inning, the guy had not pitched in almost a month in a game. March 5th was the last time he pitched in a Grapefruit League game, and he kind of closed the door there. So I think that was encouraging anyway, just to see Strom out there healthy, I guess, and getting out of that.
Lots of positives from the bullpen. Lots of positive from the bullpen. Strom, he's got balls. Sorry, guys, he's got them. Orion Kerkering threw really, really well, and it was unfortunate. A couple of dink hits, ridiculous. Little pop-ups that they didn't have put, and then he got out of the inning. Nice job by him. Strom was excellent, and Alvarado was outstanding. So a lot of positives out of that bullpen. I know Romano did not throw well. But I think he'll bounce back, and that's some positives there as well.
Yeah. So yesterday we had Harper homers out of the 2-hole, Bohm with the game-winning double out of the 3-hole, Schwarber with the home run out of the cleanup spot. So fans are going to be pumped on Saturday when they're all in different spots in the lineup.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of what it seems to be. Rob indicated again, he's going to adjust the lineup, maybe lefty, righty, and kind of continue to fiddle with it.
How about this?
What it is.
How about this? See the ball, hit the ball.
Boom.
I
And
like
it doesn't
that.
matter where you are. As long as those first four guys just whack.
See the
Swing
ball,
it.
hit the ball. If it's out of the box, don't swing at it.
Well, it's funny. I can see if I can find this quote. I asked Bohm yesterday because everybody's been asking Harper and Schwarber and Turner. We're like, does it matter where you hit? Does it matter where you hit? So I said to Bohm, you're hitting third today. You might hit fourth on Saturday. I said, do you care where you hit? He says, I don't care. And he said, I've hit 1 through 9 in my career, I think. He goes, and then he paused for a second. He goes, well, maybe not 9th, but basically everywhere in the lineup. Wherever you put me, I'll try to fit in. My approach isn't necessarily based upon where I hit. It's a simple kind of approach. Runners on, runners not on. Nothing really changes for me. If it's something over the plate, if it's a strike, if it's a good pitch to hit, I'm going to try to swing at it. If it's not, I'm going to try to do my best not to swing at it. And that sounds like a guy that.
Who was that?
That's Bohm. That was Bohm saying that.
That was Bohm. Yeah, he's always had that approach.
Yeah, and then
Turner actually saw some pitches. I thought yesterday. I thought he saw a good amount of pitches.
The first 2 at bats for sure. I think he saw a lot of it.
He had good at bats, man. He'll be fine. He's one of the most one of the best hitters in baseball. He's a top 15 player for me, and don't worry, he'll be scoring runs and stealing bases and driving ball out of the ballpark because he's got too much ability.
Yeah, he's a confidence momentum guy too. I don't think he shows it that much because he's kind of emotionless. Doesn't show a ton of emotion on the field. He's kind of like if he was a stream or a river, he'd be very calm. There would be no like ripples in it. But he definitely deep down inside is a momentum, feel, confidence guy. So good to see him see some pitches early.
Yeah, that was good. Well, guys, we will be back on Monday, maybe before the home opener. Hopefully, before the home opener on Monday, we'll wrap up the weekend. It's Jesus Luzardo on Saturday, right, against Jake Irvin on Saturday, and then and I know Nola is pitching a series finale. I can't remember who's pitching for the Nationals on Sunday. I mean, Nola's pitching the series finale on Sunday. So
Nola pitches on Sunday. Good time to queue up that interview, Todd, that you did with Aaron Nola. Learn a little bit about the how he throws that curveball, which everybody calls a knuckle curve, but it's actually a spike curve.
It's a spike. You're right, Jeff.
Right. Well, I see it. It's been there's a slight difference.
There is a slight difference, but you're right.
It was a great interview.
Just as long as it moves the way it moves.
Yeah, great fun interview.
Yeah.
I like how he's basically, in a lot of ways, throws the same curveball his father taught him, with the wrist action way back when he was a little kid.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's a good one to.
It also takes a ton off of your elbow. The way if you throw it properly, you're better off throwing a curveball and a slider on your elbow because of the position of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's so cool with Nola, where like all spring he talks about, trying to find my fastball command, and man, I'm trying to work on my changeup, and basically he can roll out of bed in the in spring training day one and just fire off some nasty curveballs. It just kind of doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that part of it, where he's like trying to throw a four seamer and command it where he wants to put it, but like curveball, you can just throw it in there and it's unhittable. So that's what makes him great, I guess, is that curveball is so great, and he can throw it at any point and feel confident in it. So.
But
check out that interview.
You can also see when he's got his right hand position how he gets more of a downward vertical movement than a horizontal movement when he's working on the side of it. And that's when you see that he doesn't command his fastball as well. He can't really throw his changeup because he doesn't get his hand position over the ball. And so you can see just by the angle of his breaking ball whether or not you feel like I watch his first few breaking balls of the game and I'm like, he's got his good stuff, or he may not have his good stuff because the breaking ball is a little less depth. When he has this kind of rotation to the baseball, forget about it.
Well, go. Forget about it. If you want to win a Manco gift card, subscribe to the Phillies show on our YouTube channel. Drop in the comment section the name of your favorite Phillies player. Go to thephillyshow.com. Pick up The Phillies Show t-shirt, powder blues and maroons, and we will be back before the home opener on Monday.
Smell you later, boys.
Bye, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.